And you can see here that for some reason, they may wanted to have done the right thing, but it wasn't any longer at the top of the agenda. It sort of fell, well, we're not doing anything illegal, so it slipped back. And once that slips back, that's how the cards begin to fall.
Yeah, I think that part of that being liked, you know, we do fundamentally want more than anything to be liked, I think, to be accepted and praised by the people around us. Winning through greed, winning through cheating is winning. And people like people who win. And it can be very seductive, and I think that happens at times in Wall Street. Ultimately, whether it's in your private life or whether it's in your corporate life, doing the right thing really is what ultimately leads to the greatest success, even monetary success. You know, a great example, if you don't mind me using a name here, you know, everybody's heard names like Bernie Madoff and you know, people like that on Wall Street that did the wrong thing for a long time and got away with a lot of money, and ultimately it fell apart. Ultimately they lost. You know, but they're also great people on Wall Street. There's a guy named Jamie Dimon who runs J.P. Morgan Chase now. You know, there's an example of a guy who, through the worst of time, or through the most tempting of times, when greed was rampant, it was easy to steal. Once again, I'm not talking about the law. I'm talking about the ability to perpetrate. Did the right thing, and that firm has done very well. There are firms that have done very well because of the right thing being done. And in personal lives, you know, you may get in social situations at times when you'll have somebody who is very powerful and may manipulate relationships between people. But ultimately, that's not the person who rises to the top. That's not the person who we want to be with.
You know, you have a character who gives some advice to Levi. People don't remember what you say, Levi, at least not exactly. This is that Lily character again. But they do remember how you make them feel forever. That's what you're talking about right here, is this, you know, regardless of what you're saying, if you're, again, doing that right thing, treating people with respect. I don't want to go golden rule or silver rule or however you want. People are going to remember how you made them feel.
Right. Yeah. And I think that sometimes when people who do the right thing, who are passionate about doing the right thing, aren't able to accomplish it, there are times because they're going about it the wrong way. They're making people feel bad as they do it. They're being accusatory in some way or heavy-handed. But they do remember the way you make them feel. And I think making people feel good in the long run is what's going to get the cooperation you need to accomplish anything that's great.
You know, it's funny, even the worst of characters, and I will have to say Frank in this book is about as bad a character as you can get. Out can come a gem. And he says, and I'm following up on just that, you can make somebody hate you and they may get over it someday. Maybe there's enough time for them to do that. But it ain't so easy when you make them hate themselves. That's what's the big danger going on here on all those levels. On, again, the micro level of the family and the macro level in the business is people, after all, what is, quote, the depression but how we feel in a very strange way. That's what hurts the economy. We're all feeling so lousy. We're not spending any money. We are literally depressed and in a depression. And throughout this, that burden is weighing heavy on many of the characters.
Yeah, I think in Frank's case, Frank speaks from deep experience and still shows some level of shame in saying what he said. But it's the way that he made people feel that made him condemnable about themselves. And I think that whether it's something that happens within a household, where it's the kind of dominance and abuse that leads to making people dislike or hate or feel ashamed of themselves or feel themselves of no value, that's hard to be forgiven for making, same thing happens on bigger scales.
Well, you know, you give us a little insight with these words. How souls that can't be blended get tangled from trying, and how pain untangles them and then makes more pain. That's what we see going on. The different souls struggling. They're trying to, one's trying to become a family, set of souls. One set of souls is trying to corporately, you know, make all this money but do the right thing. The souls are all entangled. They have to pull apart. The pain is there from the beginning, and it's like entropy. It just creates more pain, even if they're attempting to do the right thing.
Right. In a great marriage, if one's a blue thread and one's a red thread, and you weave them together in a great marriage, they become purple. I mean, these are souls that can be blended. Some can't. You know, sometimes you get relationships where you've got good people and you can't blend them. They're going to stay blue and red, and there can be a lot of pain in that untangling. And it takes pain to untangle it. And there can be pain in trying to blend. There can be pain in trying to unwind it. And you can get two fundamentally good entities, people who are both trying very hard to do the right thing, and maybe even a very righteous thing in both cases, but they're at odds with each other, or they're ignorant of each other, and ultimately that will lead to enough pain to untangle them again.
But then the biggest pain still comes, and it's Levi's wife, Angela, when she says, you know what, you're still your own boogeyman. That still is the biggest pain, when you can't get out of yourself, when you're your own boogeyman. Forget what's going on. Man, that's what we all struggle with all the time.
Yeah, there are things that hurt us or terrify us, and we take ownership of those things. And there are times when we are long, long away from them, and we're safe, and we'll always be safe from those things. And if we can't get them outside, if we can't get out of ourselves, we will be our own boogeyman till the day we die. Now, there are great, profound things that happen in our lives when we're young that can affect us positively throughout our lives. But for every yin, there's a yang, you know. And it's not being able to realize when the struggle is over and you're still fighting it, that you become your own boogeyman.
Well, I think towards the end, Levi says these great words, I don't want my world to contract until I'm all that counts to me.
If you can't get out of yourself, you do get to the point, Levi gets to the point where he's facing an existence of him being the only thing that matters to him. And that's a very scary thing indeed for all of us.
Well, William, this was fictional, but as I said, about as real as fiction can be. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Barry. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And thank you for joining us. Now, before William leaves, I would like to leave you with these words from the bottom of the sky. You can look at great big dark mountains, or you can look at the bottom of the sky. One of them will be how you see yourself, and the other might be how people see you. If you stare at the worst you've ever done, you'll be standing at the bottom looking up at the dark mountains you built that are covering up and stealing your sky. I'm Barry Kibrick. Don't stare at your darkest worst. Look between the dark mountains and the bottom of the sky, and let the light shine on your best. Thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
If you'd like a tape of our show, or would like to become a member of our book club and receive our weekly email show updates, just write us at barrykibrick@aol.com.